Hello there, welcome to my channel, Katie's Empathy, and thank you for joining me today in the wilderness, in the beautiful Mother Nature. I thought that I would take you along on my hike today, and so I walked quite a bit all the way up a mountain, and when I got to the top of the mountain, I went off trail a little bit and took the ridge line, and I followed the ridge line all the way until it started to flatten out again. So here I am at the tippy top of this mountain, just soaking in and enjoying this beautiful nature. It's so nice to be out here. I will be doing this more often, so let me know if this is something that you enjoy. But for now, we're going to continue on with Powerful Feminine Energy Unleashed with the Divine Feminine. So let's go ahead and see what our message is for today. Calling on the Divine Feminine, calling on Goddess energy, on the angels, on feminine power, calling on our higher selves. What message do you have for us today? And what can we learn from you today? What lessons can we learn today? What can we learn from the Divine Feminine? What wisdom can we learn today? If you can hear, I've got my bell bracelet on. My dear friend Jade made for me. It jingles. I like wearing it, especially when I'm out in the wilderness, because it's like a little song to the fae folk and the wood creatures. What messages does the Divine Feminine have for us today? It's funny, one usually is popped out by now. What messages does the Divine Feminine have for us today? And there we are. So, two popped out, and it was taking a while, and I can only think that we are meant to actually look at both of these. So, it's interesting that these two popped out. So I'm just going to go ahead and show them to you. We've got Lalita, the red goddess. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. And there she is. And then the other is Quan Yin, the goddess of compassion. I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. Curiosity breeds compassion. And just without reading the book, because we're going to read the book like we have been, without reading the book, just looking at these, we have one about playfulness and laughter, and then one about recognizing suffering so you can release it, because curiosity breeds compassion. And something about curiosity is sticking out to me here, because it's curiosity that causes us to be playful and to find joy in things, I think, you know. So it fell out with Quan Yin at the top. So we're gonna read what Quan Yin has to say for us first. So I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. Quan Yin represents the presence that listens deeply to our prayers, spoken from the heart. Quan Yin is an incarnation of Avalokitesvara. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I don't know how to pronounce this other one either. The Bodhisattva of compassion. She is known as the goddess of mercy and is considered to be the most beloved Buddhist deity. Her name translates in Chinese as the one who perceives the cries of the world. She is often compared to the Virgin Mary in Christianity because she intercedes on behalf of those who call out to her with humility and sincerity. Scholars believe that the Buddhist monk Kumarajiva was the first to refer to the female form of Quan Yin in his Chinese translation of the Lotus Sutra in 406, I guess before Christ. She's associated with the number 33 because she appears 33 times in this sacred text. The Lotus Sutra reveals that the mudra most often associated with Quan Yin is the Yoni mudra. Her cupped hands symbolize the womb to remind us that we all entered this world through the female form. So if you haven't watched my first videos, the Yoni is actually the female vagina. The Buddhist saint Mao Shan is believed to have been an incarnation of Quan Yin. Quan Yin was originally worshipped as a male deity, but at some point during the northern Sung dynasty, Quan Yin began to be worshipped as a female. Mao Shan is believed to be the cause of this transformation. The legends of Mao Shan contain beautiful accounts of her saving sailors from drowning in rough seas. Quan Yin is associated with jade because of its protective properties. In this case, it's said to help with going underwater, both literally and figuratively, drowning in the ocean or in a flood of emotions. When you select her card, Quan Yin is about the deep medicine that comes simply from being willing to bear witness to someone else's pain. To really listen, we have to move from the ego to the soul so that the story we are listening to doesn't become about us or trigger us. I'm going to repeat that. To really listen, we have to move from the ego to the soul so that the story we are listening to doesn't become about us or trigger us. This also applies to the moments when we are listening to the story we tell ourselves about who we are. We are often far harsher and less forgiving to ourselves than we would ever be to someone else. Quan Yin suggests that we listen simply with curiosity. Curiosity allows us to detach from needing to take the suffering of someone we love personally. Curiosity is a door that leads to compassion. It frees us from feeling as though we have to react to what we hear or defend and explain our part in their suffering. We can just perceive the pain that they are in, or we can finally hear our own cries of despair and not seek to judge or justify them. We can just be present to what needs to be heard. Quan Yin is the powerful energy of giving witness to our own or to someone else's suffering. Often, just a calm, abiding presence of compassion is all that is needed to transform that suffering into clear light. How many times have you been talking to someone about something you're going through and they just start comparing it to things that they've gone through? And I am just as guilty for doing this as anyone, because we always want to relate to what someone else is going through. We always want to be able to say, oh, well, I've been through that too, or I know what you're going through. But the truth is that, you know, we can never fully understand the pain and suffering that someone else is going through. And when we actually just listen and we hold space for a person rather than trying to occupy that space, their space with them, right? We allow healing to come in. It's kind of like saying something like, you know, I'm here and I'm going to listen to you, and you can tell me whatever you need to in this space, and I am going to listen and not interject my own energy or my own point of view into this, because this is your story. Quan Yin is the powerful energy of giving witness to our own or to someone else's suffering. Often just a calm, abiding presence of compassion is all that is needed to transform that suffering into clear light. I know I read that once, but I wanted to read it again. What pain or suffering can I listen to now with curiosity? I recognize suffering in order to release it. Curiosity breeds compassion. So that was Quan Yin. So let's go right into Lalita, the red goddess. And somehow I think this is gonna work together. After we read her, we'll kind of talk about how the two work together. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. And let's just look at her again. Lalita represents the spontaneity that graces a heavy moment and reminds us that joy is a powerful spiritual practice. Lalita Tripura Sundari is a Hindu deity known as the Red Goddess because of her connection to desire. She is often depicted sitting on a lotus with 16 petals, known as the fulfiller of all desires. She is holding a golden bow that represents the mind and 5 golden arrows that represent the 5 senses. In the ancient devotional text dedicated to her, the Lalita Sahasranama is a list of her 1,000 names that fulfills all the desires of a devotee simply through its recitation. A list of her 1,000 names that fulfills all the desires of a devotee simply through its recitation. One of Lalita's many names is she who plays. The Sanskrit word lila means divine play. Lalita loves when her devotees are able to move beyond dualities, to the point where we are not separate from what we desire. She loves puja, or ritual worship, for this reason, because it moves us from out of our ideas and thoughts of the divine and into our hearts, where we can experience the divine directly. Lalita is known for her spontaneity and for liberating her devotees with joy. She's the consciousness that comes when we get so caught up in taking ourselves seriously that we forget the profound yet simple pleasures like sunlight on our face or the taste of a ripe strawberry. She's the delicious moment when we remember that we don't have to take everything, especially ourselves, so seriously. We don't have to be perfect or know the right mudras or yoga poses or chant for hours on end. What's divine is inherent in us. It's remembered, not learned. That is so powerful to me because my entire practice of magic is based in spontaneity, and I see a lot of people really, really digging and researching and following these already laid out paths, and that's okay. And in a way, I'm doing something similar, but it's like, to me, my spirituality, my magic is play. It's when I play. It's when I just let go of the need for attachment, the need for rules, and I just play. And in that play, I find, you know, these practices that come to me. And it's so strange because I will do things and not even realize that I'm doing an ancient practice that has been done for years, until, you know, for generations. And you know, afterwards I'll see something and it's like, oh, this is, you know, this pagan holiday and people do these practices, and I'm like, well, that's weird, I didn't know that, I was just doing that. And it's like, because I let go and I release all of the expectations on spirituality, on my path, it's like the right things come to me and fall to me and lay out, because I am playing, because I am letting go of expectation. I'm remembering the way that I need to go. I'm remembering all of my ancestors and all of my spirit guides. I'm remembering what they have taught me in all of my life. And so it doesn't take all of this study and this deep meditation and all of that. Not for me. You know, for me it just takes curiosity and playfulness. When your soul selects her card, answers arrive from disengaging with the energy that created the problem or question to begin with. We so often hold tight to what we desire with the grip that actually inhibits it from arriving. And we often take the soul by the collar and demand to know an answer right now. But when a desire is an imperative, there's an inability to be playful, imaginative, and childlike with how and when that desire will arrive. Bam, right there. Megan Watterson just said it. It's like you can't force things to happen, you know, and beyond spirituality. And if you're manifesting anything in your life, to be too serious about it is to actually keep yourself from manifesting it. I think for me, and probably for a lot of people, you know, manifesting a relationship is hard for me because I become attached to the outcome. I become attached to a person. I become attached to a situation, and therefore I sabotage it every single time. And so what I am learning slowly through my spiritual practice and through my playfulness is that I just have to let go of any specific person or specific desire and just allow my spirit to call in my soulmate, and just let it happen. And that really goes for anything. If you're trying to manifest a career, if you're trying to manifest, you know, a job, or, you know, friends, you know, wanting it so bad, just being so desperate will actually keep it from coming to you. And that is just the way the universe works. The secret to desire is holding it lightly. The secret that the Red Goddess knows is that we already have everything we desire. So we can trust that what the soul craves is and always has been ours. This is the levity that sparks a shift, a change, an expansion. This is the moment that we remember we are not separate from what we desire or from the divine. I think the secret to desire is holding it lightly. Holding it lightly. I think that kind of goes into Quan Yin's card as well, because when we hold space for someone, we're not judging them or being attached to how we fit into their story, or you know, compassion takes a certain lightheartedness. It's about being able to hold space for someone without holding them down. Lalita is that bright moment in a fight between lovers or friends when suddenly someone mispronounces a word and both crack up laughing. She's the levity that comes when we loosen our death-like grip on what we think we desire. She's the gorgeous, much-needed reminder that we don't have to suffer our way to what we want most. The path to what we desire and to becoming the soul we need to be in order to receive it can be paved with joy, with divine play, and with a sacred process of lightening up along the way. So, her soul voice meditation is, how can I add more playfulness to my life right now? How can I add more playfulness to my life right now? I think that's funny because here I am in the middle of the woods. Basically, this is my playground, and being out here with nature to me is like being a kid. I never come out into the woods. As many times as I come out to nature, I always feel like a kid again, every single time. And so it's probably different for every person. You know, how can you bring play into your life? What is it that you do or can do that brings you back to that brings you back to this playful spirit, that brings you back to this laughter and this joy? You know, sometimes we get so caught up in taking our life to a certain place or doing certain things with our life, but I really think that the moment that we just let go and we find joy in every moment, and it's harder than it sounds. It sounds so nice, just being joyful. The moment that we let it go, though, and we do find that joy, is the moment that things will start to fall into place. When we already know that things are already on their way to us, we don't have to worry about when and how. It is all as it should be in the moment. And sometimes in order to get to that place, you know, just putting these two cards together, because I really am enjoying that. And I'm just going to read her intention real quick. Playfulness is a spiritual power. Laughter leads me back to the light. I just think that in order for, I think the message for us in these next few days is, in order for us to find transformation and to find healing, to find that joy, to find that playfulness, maybe we are needing to talk to someone. Maybe we're needing to let go of some pain and release of some pain that we've been holding on to. You know, we're entering a new cycle. We're entering, you know, we're in Virgo season now. There's a lot of shifts happening, and it's time to release all of that pain. And think about the people in your life, and think about people who actually hold space for you and listen to you, versus people who always try to put themselves in your story. And find those people who are compassionate towards you, who will hold space for you so that you can let go of anything that you may be holding on to that's keeping you from being able to play. Okay? So I think that's all that I have for today. I sense, you know, a lot of transformation in this that's been happening. I see that the transformation is in its final stages. I really feel that, and I hope that resonates with you. And if you're struggling, and if you're going through pain, just know that that pain is like the pain of being born, the pain of actually coming out of the cocoon. And find joy and find playfulness. Alright, so here are the two cards next to each other. Thank you so much for staying for my video. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe, and share. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful